What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about Airbnb, the gig economy, and the stock market. Because just recently Airbnb went public, and in a fairly unique and I think really cool move on Airbnb's part, they decided to offer hosts on their platform the option to buy stock pre-IPO. Now, for those of you who don't know what it means for a company to go public or what an IPO is, what it is whenever a company decides that they want to be publicly traded on the stock market, that is called a initial public offering, or an IPO. And basically what that is that is the first chance that normal citizens like me and you get in order to buy stock for a company like Airbnb, like Uber, like Apple, like Microsoft, and so many more companies. Every single company that is currently trading on the stock market once had a IPO, and that's whenever they went from being privately held to publicly held. Now, before a company can go public, it has to be decided what price that stock is going to start trading at, and that is called the IPO price. That is the price that the stock is valued at right whenever it goes public. So to give you an example, in the case of Airbnb, its IPO price was set at $68 per share. So everybody within the company, everybody who's able to get pre-IPO stock price, was able to invest in Airbnb at just $68 per share. So in the example of Airbnb, its IPO price was $68 per share, but the second that it started trading on the market, it increased almost immediately. And by the time the day was done, it was sitting at over $144 per share, and it had increased over 100%. And so that means that anybody that was able to invest in Airbnb at IPO price almost instantly doubled their money within one single trading day. But the thing about IPO price is that not just anybody can buy a stock at IPO price. In fact, it's notoriously very difficult to get involved in a stock price while it's at its IPO price. Oftentimes you have to have a connection to the company, a connection to an investment group, or you have to be involved in the company in some way, shape, or form. But in the case of Airbnb, they did something that was really unique and I think really cool, and I think that it's something that other companies should adopt. Airbnb allowed for hosts of their platform to buy stocks at IPO price before they went public. This is incredibly unique, as there has not been a gig economy platform that has ever done this in the past. Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash are all publicly traded. In fact, DoorDash just recently went public, and yet none of those companies have offered anything like Airbnb offered their hosts. In fact, in the case of Airbnb, there are a number of stories online about hosts that were able to get into the stock at IPO price, and thus they made tens of thousands of dollars in the process, which is kind of a great ending to a really rough year for Airbnb hosts. But then that begs the question of, should this type of thing, the act of giving your gig workers stock options in your company, should that be a normalized and a standardized practice? In fact, the SEC thinks so, because recently they announced a proposal that would allow for privately held companies to offer stock options to their hosts and gig workers that are participating on their platform. But before we dig into what the SEC has to say, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Cover. Now, if you work for the gig economy, you may not have the option to invest in IPO stock like a traditional 9-to-5 employee. But that doesn't mean that you can't have some of the financial benefits that you've grown accustomed in a traditional 9-to-5. And that is where Cover comes in. Cover is a financial safety net that provides a slew of financial benefits that we've grown accustomed to in our traditional career paths. Things like sick leave, paid time off, access to medical telehealth professionals, as well as bookkeeping services and a legal team in the case your account is wrongfully terminated. Cover can have your back in this gig economy, and that can be incredibly beneficial if you are a solo entrepreneur. So for example, if you drive for DoorDash and you get into an accident or you get sick, Cover can help you ensure that you don't end up losing your house, losing your car, and that you're still able to pay your bills with a handful of the financial benefits that they offer. Now, the best part is Cover is super affordable at just $7 per month. And if you follow the link in my description below, you can give it a try for 1 month free with no contracts, no commitments, and no obligations. If you're interested in adding some financial stability in a traditionally volatile gig economy, then Cover is the perfect partner for you. So make sure to check it out in the description below. I will also pin a comment in the comment section as well. So thank you, Cover, for sponsoring this video. So a few weeks ago, the SEC announced a new proposal that would allow privately held internet-based platforms to pay as much as 15% of a gig worker's annual compensation in the form of equity, up to a limit of $75,000 over 3 years. SEC Chairman Jay Clayton was quoted in saying, "The rules we are proposing today are intended to allow platform workers to participate in the growth of the companies that their efforts support." So the thought process here is to be able to reward the gig workers that make and create the platform, to be able to reward them in the same way that a lot of corporate employees are rewarded. Giving stock options in replacement of like salaried pay, that's a fairly common occurrence in the corporate world, but it's something that is completely new to the gig economy. And to be honest, I think that this is incredibly valuable. Let's look again at Airbnb as an example. If Airbnb had been doing this type of program for the last 3 years, and if a Airbnb host would have capped out their Airbnb stock options to $75,000, on IPO day, they would have more than doubled their money, and that exact $75,000 would have been worth over $150,000 later that day. Now, in my opinion, I think that this idea and this type of proposal is extremely long overdue. And I not only think that it should be welcomed with open arms, I think that this should become standard practice and standard procedure in the gig economy. The fact is, the gig economy would not be anything without the gig workers participating. And I do think that in some way, gig workers deserve stock in the company they're helping grow. Now, the fact is, as we see here today, the proposal introduced by the SEC probably won't really go anywhere, and I don't see this becoming standard practice anytime in the very near future, but I do think that this kind of starts the discussion. And I think that the fact that Airbnb did this exact same thing will help encourage other gig platforms to follow suit and do the same thing whenever they go public. All in all, though, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I think that Airbnb's choice to offer host stock is a great thing, and I really do think that other companies should follow. But I also am very interested to see if anything official happens with the SEC and if this type of thing becomes standard practice. But with it being said, you guys, I would love to hear your thoughts, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.